Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. We are so excited to have Kim Halerwich joining us here once again on our show from the Solution Wizard. Tell us a little bit about your company, Kim, and welcome back.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to be here again. And I am based pretty close to Sarnia, Ontario in Canada. And for those that do get to watch the video feed, you will see a snapshot of that in the background. And Sarnia is just across the border from Port Huron, Michigan. So I am located in Corunna, Ontario. If I was to walk downtown to the St. Clair River, I could look straight across into the USA. So that's pretty exciting for me.
Wonderful. And tell me a little bit about the Solution Wizard and what it is specifically. This is awesome stuff you do.
Thank you. So I started the Solution Wizard back in 2013. I have written some books, basically on self-help topics. And my very first one was published 9 years ago, and it was based on personal development. And that started to get the ball rolling when it came to writing. And since then, I have published 12 books on Amazon, and they range from a few children's books to topics of changing your perspective on your life to lead a happier life. And they do cover topics such as grief.
Wow.
Yeah, so, and it's branched out over the years. I now have 5 online courses on Udemy. I do coaching and energy healing. So quite a few avenues that I have been pursuing since 2013.
Congratulations. And
Thank
how
you.
can we reach out to you? Tell us the best forms of contact, please.
Yeah, so all my social media will be linked off my main website. You can go to thesolutionwizard.com or thesolutionwizard.shop, and it will get you to the same place. And then you can find all my courses, all my books, how to make an appointment with me if you were looking for coaching or Reiki.
Great. And let's, what did you have in mind for us today in particular? I mean, there's so much to what you do and as an author, and where did you want to start?
Well, I was wondering if you were into this. I was going to do a little meditation with you. It takes about 15 minutes, if
Beautiful.
that's something that you're open to.
Absolutely, please. Thank you.
Okay, so what I would like to do, I'm going to share a meditation that I published in my most recent book, and now I can officially say it is out on paperback.
Congrats.
Thank you. I originally wrote this book in 2020, and it's called The Biggest Lie I Ever Told, I'm Fine. And this is just a survival guide on how to deal with grief. And sometimes we just don't know how to cope with loss when we're faced with the death of a loved one. And so I wrote this book just trying to help people understand some of the things that they're going to go through. Because as a society, we've never really been taught how to cope with grief. So that's why I'm trying to help people in that respect.
Great.
So this meditation I published in this book just to give people a taste of some of the ways I try to help people just give themselves a break from their suffering. So that's the one I would like to share with you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Okay, well, if you are ready, then I'm going to try to lead you in a nice, relaxed state. And you just need to follow along with my instructions and just try to get into the moment. And for those of you that are listening from home, you're more than welcome to participate and go through this meditation as well. The only disclaimer that I would like to put out there, if anyone is driving or operating machinery while you're listening to this, please just detach. You can still listen in, just don't let yourself get brought down into trance. So Jill, I'm going to hopefully take you into a nice, quiet, relaxating place, but for our audience members that are busy, maybe not so much.
Got it. Okay, great. I'm ready.
Okay, so the first step is just to get you comfortable. So if you need to shift your weight in your chair, just go ahead and get comfortable and just try to release any tension that you might be holding in your shoulders. So you just want to maybe lean back, or because you're doing this show, you might be able to lean forward on your hand just
Mm-hmm.
to support the weight of your head.
Okay.
And that might make you feel a little bit more comfortable. So the very first thing that I'm going to ask you to do is just gently close your eyes. And I'd like you to take a deep breath and then just slowly release it. And I'd like you to do that once more, a nice deep breath, letting the air come into your nose and filling up your lungs. Exhale gently. And while you do, I would like you to feel all the tension just release from your body. And if you hear any noises in the background, whether it is me turning the page or anything else that may be in the room that you are in, I just want you to notice it as a distraction, but something that is not going to take you away from what I am doing with you.
Okay. Thank you. I'm getting comfortable for sure. Putting my head down on the
Perfect.
desk. Thank you.
Perfect. So by now you have probably noticed that your shoulders have dropped. Your arms are starting to feel limp, and your fingers are allowed to relax. Just spread out your fingers wide and then let them rest. And whenever you need to adjust your position anytime throughout this meditation, please do so to make sure you are most comfortable at all times. If you have an itch, I would like you to scratch it. If your hair is tickling your forehead,
Mm-hmm.
feel free to reach up and adjust things so that you can focus solely on your relaxation. Now, I would like you to take one more deep cleansing breath and then just settle back as we are about to get ready for our journey. In your mind, I would like you to imagine that a bright green forest is opening up in front of you. You can see some birds flying above the trees, and you hear their song as you begin to walk along
Mm.
the dirt path. This path is leading into this calm and serene forest.
Mm-hmm.
It is warm outside, and you feel a gentle breeze that wisps your hair. And as you take another long breath, you realize how clean the air is here. You can almost smell a hint of pine needles as you enter the tree line. The woods are not dense, and you can see through the trees, and you look up to notice the magnificent color of the sky. Not one cloud shades the radiant hue of deep blue above you. As you walk along, the path meanders through the forest, and you can hear the faint sound of running water. A chipmunk startles you as it runs across the trail, and he scampers up the trunk of the maple tree to your left. You smile as he caught you off guard, but you know this is a friendly forest, one of protection, and it is here where you can fully escape from the hectic world outside of the perimeter of these trees. You didn't notice until now, but you can smell lavender, and you take a slow breath through your nose so that you can bathe in this gentle fragrance. You feel a rush of calm energy flowing through your body, and even your feet begin to relax now. You continue to walk further into the forest, and up ahead, you see an opening, and the sound of water begins to take your focus. You move through some branches of soft leaves, and when you get to where the sound was emanating from, you are astonished to see the vast waterfall just off to your right. The water is cascading off a tall cliff, and it settles into a calm pool of turquoise blue lagoon. There is a grassy area just beside the water, and you make your way over. You take off your shoes and you plunge your bare feet into this soothing water. You feel a rush of well-being make its way up your legs and through your entire body. You just sit there, and all your previous worries begin to fade away as you lean back to enjoy this moment. The warmth of the sun surrounds you, and you listen to the water rippling as it laps along the shore. In this protective moment, you are the only thing that matters. You are safe. You are in control. You are loved. You feel a sense of calm come across your entire being, and you take another deep breath as you settle deeper into this space, your space, your retreat. Here, you are protected. Imagine anything else that needs to be included in your surroundings. Is it a certain color? Do you see any friendly animals that make you feel just in awe of their presence? Feel the love that they have for you. They will not hurt you. They are only here to protect you and to love you. In your personal surroundings, what sounds would make this experience even better for you? What do you hear? Is it the birds you hear? perhaps the water? Or is it something else that soothes you? Take a deep breath and listen. Do you hear the voice of a loved one? It could be someone who is living, or maybe someone who has passed over. If you could hear them speak right now, what would they say? What are the words that they need you to hear? Listen to your thoughts. What do they want you to know? You may have just received a message. Cherish it. If it was something good, remember it. If your mind took you to a sad or difficult place, I want you to release it into the water before you and watch that thought float away. Watch it go until you can no longer see it. Whatever direction your mind took you is okay. You needed to either hear the message or release the thought. You feel calmer now, no matter how that just played out for you. I want you to relax for a moment and take another deep breath. Now that you've had a chance to hear your inner thoughts, it is time to make our way back. You notice the images of the forest you created are starting to fade. The lines of the pictures are starting to blur, and the colors are washing out, so it is no longer brilliant. The forest is moving away from you now as you see it retreat further and further into the distance. It will be waiting for you should you wish to revisit it at any time in the future. But right now, you begin to notice your current environment emerging. You can feel what you are sitting on, or perhaps the ground beneath your feet. You wiggle your toes and your fingers, and with another long cleansing breath, you are now ready to open your eyes and come back into this current moment. And just take a moment to just readjust into your current moment and your surroundings.
Oh, wow.
And how did that make you feel, Jill?
Relaxed. I'm yawning over here, but really good. I had some good thoughts, saw some good animals, heard some positive messages.
Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
really. I
So
never take the time to do this.
no, it's
And most people don't. This is wow. And
it's
this is
very
only a few
important.
minutes. People could,
It is.
yes. Wow.
Yes, it's very important to just give yourself a break. No
Wow.
matter what's going on in your life, our lives are so hectic and full of circumstances. And it's, I deal a lot with grief, but there's so many other challenges that people are faced with every single day. And it's so important to do self-care. And so I just wanted you to experience that firsthand.
Hmm. Wow. Thank you.
You're very
Wow.
welcome.
Wow.
Yeah, so that just gives the the listeners a little bit of an idea of what I try to do for my clients during a session. Um, every single session is going to be unique. I try to just follow my intuition and use my heart for guidance when it comes to what I should say or what I should do during a session.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, I wanted to share that with you so that the listeners could have a firsthand experience that they could participate in.
Wow. Thank you so much.
You're very
Wow.
welcome.
Wow. Hmm.
Yeah. And everybody that experienced that meditation would have took them somewhere different. So, if you had a loved one come through, um, everybody's going to experience that just a little bit differently. So, it would be interesting if people would share how that affected them, just to see the variety of what they visualized.
Yeah. Beautiful. Well, thank you. Now, let me ask you, this is what you do with your clients,
Hmm.
but above and beyond. I mean, to what are some of the things that normally you hear from them? What comes out of them? How does this help them?
I think, and it goes back to what you just said, a lot of people don't take the time um, to give themselves self-care. So doing a session almost forces them to take the time for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
It's like people that like to go to the gym. They go to the gym because it gives them some sort of fulfillment, that they are accomplishing something. And I think when I work with people that are grieving, grief is something that a lot of people just try to suppress and not do the grief work. And I think when I was learning all these different modalities, it forced me to do my own grief work. And almost 7 years later, I know I'm in a better place than I was. The very first year was emotional turmoil. Um, so I think just taking that time is probably the biggest thing, and working through your emotions, because I know a lot of people, and some of them are in my inner circle, that have not taken the time to do the grief work, and they look at me and they think, wow, you've dealt with a lot of things, and they're still trying to suppress those emotions and push them down and just go about their
Yeah.
daily lives without dealing with it. And sometimes I try to tell them, it's up to everybody how they deal with grief, and you can't force somebody to do the grief work. It's something that they have to come to terms with and say, I'm ready to do
Yeah.
something about it. I'm tired of being sad. I'm tired of having symptoms of grief, whether it's low energy or not sleeping right. There's so many different symptoms that people can experience, that I think once they start to release some of that
Mm-hmm.
energy, it it helps brighten the path for the future.
And let's remind everyone how we can reach out to you to book a session. And it could be virtual like this.
Yes.
Could it also be a phone call?
It could be a phone call too. Sometimes the virtual, doing a Zoom session, it is nice to be able to see each other. But phone calls work too. I have said before, energy is not bound by time or space. So no matter where you are, energy can flow. And the coaching side of things, I mean, we can work through things without seeing each other either. But if somebody did want to get a hold of me, my website is the easiest place to go, at thesolutionwizard.com or www.thesolutionwizard.shop. It will get you to the exact same place.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And on social media?
All my social media, most of them are just thesolutionwizard.com. So if you were to Google the Solution Wizard,
It'll pop up there.
It'll pop up. And all my links for social media are also on the website as well.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Pleasure having
you.
you here. And thank you for putting me into that beautiful, positive state.
Well,
Really, it's going to go a long way for today. Thank you. I needed that.
Thank you. Thank you for participating. I'm very grateful that you
Thank
took
you.
the time.
And I hope some of our listeners did too. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, I mean, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.